You walk through your front door tonight, and there it is. A black ant moving across your kitchen floor like he pays rent. You grab the spray. You wonder why this happens every single summer. Now picture something different. A farmhouse in Wayne County, Pennsylvania, built in 1851. Wide plank floors, open windows, gaps under half the doors. No spray cans, no exterminator, and not a single ant, roach, or spider making it across that threshold. The Amish figured something out about doorways that cost less than $1 to set up. Something the pest control industry would rather you forget. And tonight I'm going to show you exactly what they place in every doorway of every home. The first time I saw it, I was on a porch outside Sugar Creek, Ohio, waiting for a man named Samuel to bring me a glass of well water. I looked down at the door frame and almost laughed. Right where the wood meets the floor, there was a thin line of white powder. Not paint, not caulk. A soft, chalky line running the full width of the door. I asked Samuel what it was. He smiled and said, "That is what keeps the bugs where they belong." He showed me the back door. Same line. The cellar door, same line. The window sills upstairs, same line, just thinner. The powder was a mix of 3 things: diatomaceous earth, powdered boric acid, and ground bay leaf. That is it. The entire secret. A blend that costs about $1 to treat every doorway in a 3-bedroom house, and it lasts the entire season. Here is why it works, and this part is important. Penn State Extension confirmed that food-grade diatomaceous earth kills 90% of crawling insects within 72 hours of contact. The powder is made of fossilized algae. Under a microscope, every particle has razor-sharp edges that cut through the waxy layer on an insect's exoskeleton. They dehydrate, they die, and they cannot build immunity to it because there is nothing to be immune to. It is just sharp dust. Auburn University found that when ants and roaches walk through boric acid, they carry it back to their nest on their legs. The colony grooms itself, ingests the powder, and the entire nest collapses within 2 weeks. Not just the bugs you see, the thousands you do not see. And the bay leaf? Cornell published research showing that eucalyptol, the compound in bay leaf, is a powerful repellent against ants, moths, and silverfish. It does not kill them. It tells them to turn around. This doorway is not for them. So you have 3 things working together. The bay leaf says do not enter. The diatomaceous earth cuts the ones who ignore the warning. The boric acid follows the survivors home and ends the colony. Now I want to tell you something darker. I started asking, if this has worked for hundreds of years, why did nobody tell me? I found the answer in a USDA bulletin from 1923. Farmer's Bulletin, number 1379, distributed to rural households across Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana. It described almost the exact recipe Samuel showed me: diatomaceous earth, borax, and dried herbs. They called it threshold powder. It was standard practice on every farm in those states. Then, in 1947, the synthetic pesticide industry exploded after the war. DDT was being marketed as a miracle. Advertising campaigns told housewives that homemade remedies were old-fashioned. The USDA stopped reprinting the bulletins. By 1955, the recipe had vanished from Extension Service literature entirely. It did not disappear because it stopped working. It disappeared because nobody could patent it. Nobody could charge you $52 a month for it. The Amish never bought the pitch. They kept printing the recipe in their publication Family Life out of Aylmer, Ontario. They just kept using it while the rest of us were sold something more expensive. Here's how to do this in your house this weekend. Buy 1 pound of food-grade diatomaceous earth. about $8 online. Make sure the label says food grade. Pool grade is dangerous to breathe. Buy a small box of borax laundry booster. $3 at any grocery store. Buy a jar of whole bay leaves, $2 in the spice aisle. Grind 8 bay leaves in a coffee grinder until powdered. Mix 1 cup of diatomaceous earth, a 1/4 cup of borax, and the ground bay leaf in a glass jar. Shake it. Now go to every exterior door. Open it. Sprinkle a thin line of powder along the seam where the threshold meets the floor. Push it into the gap with your finger. The line should be barely visible. Do the same under every windowsill on the ground floor, along the basement wall seam, and across the bottom of your garage door. The whole job takes 20 minutes. The powder lasts about 4 months. If rain gets under a door, you reapply that section. I did this on my own house in April. I have not seen a roach, ant, or silverfish inside since. But here is the piece almost nobody outside those communities knows. The powder gets you 90% of the way there. The Amish do one more thing at every doorway that gets them to 100%. I learned it from an old Amish carpenter named Amos, 78 years old, in his workshop just outside Walnut Creek, Ohio. He was building door frames for a young couple just starting out. He told me to smell the threshold piece, the flat board you step over when you enter a house. I leaned down. Cedar. But underneath it, something sharper, herbal, almost minty. He had soaked the wood in pennyroyal oil for 3 days before installing it. Pennyroyal is a wild mint that grows across the eastern United States. A single drop of the oil can kill a tick on contact. The Amish discovered that if you soak the threshold wood in pennyroyal oil before installation, the oil bonds with the wood fibers and releases slowly for decades. It does not wash out. Amos showed me a threshold pulled from a house built in 1958. He scratched the surface with his thumbnail. The herbal scent rose right up, still active after 66 years. I found documentation in the Pennsylvania Dutch Household Guide, published in 1931 by a woman named Miriam Kaufman Erb. On page 203, she describes what she calls door oil, pennyroyal, cedarwood, a small amount of clove in a base of linseed oil, brushed onto thresholds and windowsills. She wrote that her mother had learned it from a woman who came over from the Baden region of Germany in the 1850s. She wrote that nobody she knew had a bug problem. Then the book went out of print. The recipe was forgotten. Here is how to apply it to a house you already own. No threshold replacement needed. Buy a small bottle of pennyroyal essential oil, about $10 online. Mix 20 drops into a 1/4 cup of pure linseed oil. Wipe the mixture onto the wooden threshold at every exterior door with a clean rag. Let it soak in for an hour, then wipe off the excess. Do the same on cellar doors and ground floor wooden windowsills. The smell is strong for the first day. By day 3, you barely notice it. The bugs notice it. They will not cross that wood. One caution: pennyroyal oil is toxic to cats and to pregnant women in concentrated form. Use it only on exterior thresholds where the wood absorbs it and the air dilutes it. The Amish have known this for 200 years. So now you have the full system. Powder along the seam, oil in the wood. Together they create what Amos called a clean threshold, a doorway that does its job without you thinking about it again. Total cost for a 3-bedroom house, about $28. Total time, about 1 hour. The powder lasts 4 months. The oil lasts 15 years. Your grandfather probably knew this. Somewhere between him and you, the knowledge was quietly replaced by something that costs you every single month. The Amish never let it go. Now you know what they know. Tell me in the comments. Are you starting with the powder this weekend, or tracking down the pennyroyal oil first. I read every one. And next week, what the Amish put inside their walls during construction that keeps their houses 30 degrees cooler in summer without a single air conditioner. It is not insulation. It is not a fan. It is something harvested from a specific tree in a specific month, and it has been doing the work of a $5,000 HVAC system for over 2 centuries. I will see you then.